Hey, it's Tristan from One Vision of Queen, and I'm here with my excellent tech, Paul. Say hi to the folks,
there.
Paul. On our German tour of how many cities? 32 cities. We're kind of right in the middle of it now. This is Porsche Arena in Stuttgart. This is kind of typical of the venues we play over here. Just got done sound check, and I'll tell you a little bit about the stuff that I use. I get asked questions, so I just thought I'd answer them all here.
All right, so let's start with the first thing. What do you got there hanging?
Okay, what do I have here hanging? Well, that's a long story. See what I did there? This is a Brian May Special, the guitar that is made by Brian May's company, BMG, for Brian May guitars. But it's what's called a Red Special conversion. Basically, everything on it that you can change has been changed for the better by RS conversions. You can see that the tuners, the pickups, the plastics, the electronics, and the hardware, especially this bridge. This is much closer to Brian's original design with the crazy trapeze, tremolo tailpiece, and I don't know what they were. They were bicycle seat springs or something. In the tremolo, you can see them there because this one I had custom made with a clear plexiglass cover because I happen to think it looks pretty cyberpunk and cool, and actually works for my money way better than a conventional Strat tremolo. I can do dive bombs and it comes back in tune.
And what are all these switches for?
Well, this is as per Brian's spec. They're on and off and in and out of phase for each pickup. Brian made one guitar, and it's what he used on 99% of the recordings. You don't need this guitar to play Queen's music, but it kind of is the express lane.
And what are these pickups in the guitar?
They're Ferraris. They're a aftermarket clone of Brian's Trisonics. He bought a set of Trisonics from a guitar shop in London when he was a kid, and then rewound them to his own spec.
And do you also play with a coin or with a regular pick?
The answer is somewhere in between. It's a coin that's shaped into a pick. I used to use a sixpence, but they're really small and fiddly. And if you don't play this music for a while, you pick it up and you kind of forget how to use it. It's like, what do I do with this? You're always dropping it. This is cut out of a US quarter, which is a lot easier to come by in the United States, where I reside, and shaped into, I guess it's about the size of a Jazz 3 and about the shape of a Dunlop Flow. I like the sort of curved edges instead of the straight edges. They seem to slip through the strings a little bit easier, and they're polished to a high sheen, except for the back, which is left serrated. So you get that kind of crystalline clean sound. You really only hear the coin on the clean sound. The rest of the time, if you turn the guitar all the way up, it kind of wipes it out. When you roll back on the volume on any guitar, you lose some treble, and this kind of puts it back.
Cool. So what do you play as an amp? Where do you go from the guitar?
Well, as you know, there's no amp. It's just this. It's a Quad Cortex. It has arena-sized sound in a really, really small package. I could do this gig carry-on if I have to.
And you have presets, or do you for each song, or what do you do?
Well, I mean, you would think that I would, because, like I said, there's so much variety on the recordings. But I don't try to emulate the recorded sound at all. It's more like what Brian does live. He has one sound and he turns things on and off. I mean, I could go down a rabbit hole and try to mimic specific sounds on the recordings, but, well, the thing that all recorded guitar sounds have in common is that they were recorded in a recording studio by recording engineers. And they used a lot of mic placement tricks and room sounds. Yeah, you can really go down a rabbit hole chasing that, and it's kind of pointless. I mean, as you can see, we're in a pretty big room already. And if I had a different amp sound or a different speaker cabinet or a different kind of mic simulation on each song, it would drive Tony, our front of house guy, crazy. Frequency spectrum would be changing. It'd be harder to place in the mix. Right. And also, Brian's not fussed about that stuff at all. He just has one sound, his amp, and he just turns the guitar up and down. That's his clean and dirty sound. Yeah. I don't even use presets. I mean, I can. This thing is programmable, and I actually have two presets. They're kind of like gee whiz, wowie, science fiction sounds that I'll get into later. Basically, what it is, it's an amp. It's very like what Brian uses. let's put it this way: the stock Fox AC30 that comes in here is unsuitable for my purposes. The one that Brian uses is heavily modified, so what's in here is a lot more like that. I'm using the built-in emulated treble booster. I think it's called the Rage Master. That's in front of it, and I've just got it set up like a dumb pedal board, like I turn things on and off. There's a few different modulation effects: phaser, chorus. Flanger, they're for different things. Chorus is more 80s Brian. And phaser is more 70s Brian. Very subtle difference, but it's real. And you can hear, when I turn down, it cleans up beautifully. And then when I turn up, it goes all the way up to a roar, and you have all the sustain you could ever want. It's going through this monitor, which has got highs cut off, the lows cut off, and hump in the middle, so it feeds back a little bit more readily. One of the things with a modeler is if you don't have a speaker in the room with you driving the strings, it can sound a little dull and sterile, like the notes will just die. Mm-hmm. So this gives me sort of some amp feel and feedback, which is also an essential component of Brian's sound. He's always in the room with the amp, whether he's live or he's recording. The guitar is always interacting with the amp. And aside from that, it's just, let's see, there's a generic short delay, and then there's a Brighton rock delay, which is self-explanatory. There's an auto wah that I maybe use for one song, and this is a 6 dB boost just to lift my solos over in the mix. Doesn't add any coloration, just makes it louder. And this controller, 99% of the time, is just a dumb volume control. It's like a master fader. So on the more piano-oriented songs, I can tuck the guitar back into the mix. Front of the house doesn't have to do it. And I can do swells and stuff like post-gain and pre-delay.
You got some spacey sounds, you said. You mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
Can you show us them?
Well, like I said, I very rarely use presets, but I have a couple here. Some of them are just the same sound with a different delay time, to line up with the tempo of the song. I've got some crazy stuff for the intro of Magic. Of course, it's just tape effects, but I do take some liberties with the material now and then. And then for dust, I have some scenes set up, which are kind of like patches within a patch. It just means that I don't have to tap dance on a bunch of buttons to switch the sound dramatically. So this obviously. I can do that by turning up and turning down, but it's a lot more precise to program it, particularly as it changes so quickly. Then there's, in the breakdown section, I've got some tape effects. But mostly what I do is I just turn stuff on. I use it like dumb stomp boxes, and I just turn effects on and off with my big dumb feet. Like, for example, if I want to have delay and a boost at the same time, I just hit both buttons. This is one area where having big feet and a small pedal board kind of comes in handy, because you know, I do this all the time. Like, let's say I've got the chorus on and I want to change to the flanger. They're right next to each other, so I hit them both at once. Boom. Sometimes there are a couple of times where I even hit 3 at once. Like in One Vision, the intro is like I can change it that quickly, and I don't need to preset anything. Presets on this thing anyway, you get kind of a dropout, particularly if it's a really complex one, like a lot of parameters changing. Yeah, so I just prefer to use it like a dumb pedal board and just turn them off, on and off as I need to, just like stomp boxes. And yeah, that's about it. I'd like to thank the fine folks at Neural for the continued support. I've been using this thing for 3 years now. I see no need to change. And the guys at RS Conversions are fantastic. I would say if you have one of these things, if you've got a BMG Special, this is more than a cosmetic upgrade. This is a different guitar, a new guitar, and a better one in every way. So I highly recommend calling up Woody at RS Conversions and getting the operation done. And that's about it. Thanks, Paul.